Welcome back to another episode of If I Die Tomorrow. Yeah. Again, season 2. Super excited about that. Episode 2 in season 2. Hey, we're digging it. This one, again, last week was more of a palate cleanser, whimsy, look at life differently and kind of put some fun back into this because we have really discussed a lot of heavier topics. This one, I'm still going for that to a certain extent, but this one is about the freedom of unfiltered you. So, are you ready? Our lives are often defined by the stories we tell. But what about the stories we hide? We are so often taught to put on a brave face, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, dust ourselves off and pick ourselves up, and to have everything all together, to keep our struggles, our fears, and our imperfections locked away. We build walls around ourselves out of fear, judgment, not being enough. Today, we are talking about tearing those walls down. I know that is some scary, scary thoughts. But we're exploring the incredible transformative power of opening up, embracing our superpower of vulnerability, and finding true freedom in being your unfiltered, unashamed self. It's about leaving part of your legacy as with authenticity of the life that you lived, the connections you had, and not just a made up what you think everyone would be okay with. We wear armor. Not like, in the Crusades and, with the knights and all of that heavy, shiny stuff. Yeah, no. I don't, no. But we do still wear armor. Maybe it's our canned responses to someone asking, "How are you?" I'm guilty of it. And I know you have to be as well. Somebody says, "How are you?" You give them the canned response, "I'm fine." You don't really tell him, "I've had a crap day. Thanks for asking." Or, "I'm drowning today. And I need help, but I'm not going to say I do. Because you might think less of me. I might think less of me because I just told you that I'm drowning and I need help. And I should be able to do this myself." We wear this armor because we think it keeps us safe. Because we don't want to admit our flaws or our shortcomings or the fact that we don't always have it all together. We fear that if people see the messy, imperfect parts of us, they are going to run for the hills. I have yet to meet somebody who, once I have truly let them in, has run for the hills. They might question their judgment about being my friends, but they have not run for the hills, and I am grateful for that. I touched on this a little bit, but the armor that we wear to protect ourselves, to make ourselves feel safe, it comes with a cost. It can cost us real connections. It can cost us relief of being seen and understood. It can cost us the ability to receive help and support. It can cost us genuine love. It can isolate us, even when we're surrounded by people who care about us. That is a lot. That's a really heavy cost. I don't know if I want to pay that price anymore. To be honest, do you want to pay that price anymore? I mean, life, from growing up, there's been a lot of things that have changed, a lot more acceptance about specific things, like our bodies, our size, the size of us, all of that. There's been a lot more acceptance to that. And a lot of the shame that used to be associated with it has been removed, which I'm so grateful for. But I will tell you this. I don't care if you're a size 0 or you are a 5X. Everyone has some kind of thought or issue with their own body. And what one person would be happy with, somebody else feels like they need to hide. It's very powerful and it can be debilitating, but it's there. And if we keep building each other up and knowing that it's okay, maybe some thoughts will change behind that. But just realize you're not alone when you deal with any of that. And it's not just about your body type, your body size. It's, there are so many subjects that actually touches on. But we're trying to keep this light, sorry. So I'm going to ask you, how do we start to put that armor down? It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It can be a simple, small act of vulnerability, which, again, if you've been listening to me, Season 1, we talked about our superpower of vulnerability. And I truly, absolutely believe that it is a superpower. It is not easy. Honest answer. When someone asks how you are, instead of saying fine, try a slightly more honest response. I mean, you don't have to shout out every feeling you got, but you could just say, you know what? Today's been a little bit overwhelming. Thank you for asking. I'm hanging in. I, a lot of times, will give the response, I'm living the dream. I'm going to say up until probably a couple months ago when somebody actually called me out on it. And I am forever grateful for them. But I meant that 90% negative. I'm living the dream. And then I was somewhere and somebody asked me how I was. And I gave my canned response of, I'm living the dream. And they looked at me and they said, don't say that if you don't mean it. I stopped for a second. I mean, that really kind of made me take a step back and look at that. And they're like, most people say that, they don't really mean that they're living the dream. And so why not just say, what it is. And so now I am usually more open about it, but I do joke and I'll say, living the dream, you know, the one on Elm Street and, you know, like Crystal Lake, which fits into some of our humor because, you know, my husband is a huge Halloween fan. I enjoy the holiday very, very much. So that response kind of fits with our life. So I'm okay with that. But I have gotten a little bit better about being honest. And at some point, if you're really wondering if you should bleh, do the word vomit thing when somebody asks how you are, look at them and say, do you want the honest answer or do you want the I'm fine? Give them the choice and then you can know how far you can go. Because yes, sometimes you really just bleh, do the word vomit because at that point you're tired of hiding and the armor was too heavy for the day. So you just let it go. You just let it all out. Shared imperfections. Admitted mistake you've made, a failure you've experienced. I promise this is not a job interview. I always hated that question. Or a fear you have. That one, I don't think they've ever asked that in a job interview, which is a good thing. But they might actually get some pretty interesting answers that are more telling than tell us a failure. Anyway, sorry, kind of went off topic there. But, you know, talk about a fear you have. You'll often find that your honesty gives others permission to be honest. I don't know why we feel we need permission from others to be honest about certain things, but we do as a society, as a collective. And it's really odd to think about, but maybe we can, by removing some of this armor, take some of that off. Because then I'm not looking for validation from somebody else on if I can be honest about how I'm feeling. And isn't that amazing? Okay, here's another big one. And again, I'm trying to keep this light, but it's very important and it's honest. To ask for help. I know there are some of you that just got chills down your spine going, no way, no, how am I doing that? You can do it, I promise. It's usually one of the hardest acts of vulnerability. When you are asking for help with a task, for emotional support, or even just somebody to listen, promise that you will at least try, even if it's just for a split second, of realizing how much strength that actually shows. It doesn't feel like that, but it really is that. It is so much more. And we have got to flip the switch on thinking that it's a weakness. The truth is, connection isn't built on perfection. I will say that again. The truth is, connection is not built on perfection. It's built on shared imperfections. When we open up, we don't push people away. We pull them closer. We invite them in. Be careful who you invite in, though. Not gonna lie. Please use some discernment. Not everybody has your best interest at heart. And so you have to be careful. And the more you feel comfortable without your armor, the easier it is to hear what the people in your life are saying, because sometimes their actions speak so loudly that it drowns out their words. And use that. And things that we just talked about, angels, ask them for some help too. Ask them to help you with some discernment, or to put people in your life that are there to help build you up and not tear you down. Now I'm going to tell you, there is a gift in all of this. The gift of being unashamed. You'll have to excuse me because I really need a drink. Another guilty pleasure. Cherry Dr. Pepper. That and Liquid IV and True Labs. I love drinking that stuff. But anyway. So, in the gift of being unashamed, it isn't about just sharing pain. It's also about sharing your whole self. And I don't know why, but just in that moment, what popped into my head was, you know, the hokey pokey. You know, you start out, I guess, and life is a little bit like that. You start out by just putting one hand in, taking it back out, you know, then the other hand in, taking it out, and then both hands in and taking it back out, shake it all out. Yeah. And then by the end, you have felt comfortable enough by jumping in and jumping out that you put your whole self in. And then you take your whole self out. And then you put your whole self back in. And it's when you put your whole self in, that's where you get it. That's your gift. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. And I know that was a really odd way or comparison. And I'm sorry now if you have that song stuck in your head. I actually am really sorry if I put that song stuck in your head. But it really does actually make a lot of sense if you stop and think about it. Start looking at some of your past mistakes or what you perceive as a failure as a learning experience. Look at it as a way that you grew as a person. That's important. And you should give yourself credit for that. Not everyone is deserving of your vulnerability, as I said earlier. And actually, when I had that conversation in season 1 about your, superpowers, vulnerability, not everyone deserves it. And you do have to be discerning about it. And you can start by practicing with 1 or 2 people that you trust deeply. And look for those who will listen with empathy and who they won't judge you. You know, I believe it or not, I have friends. I do, believe it or not. And a lot of them, it's so funny because we'll have conversations and they're like, I'm going to tell you something, but don't judge me. I have no right to judge anyone. I'm not perfect. I will never be perfect. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay admitting that. But there is always more than one way to get something done, or to make a statement, or learn a lesson, or complete a task. So I have no right to judge. And I would never do that to any of my friends or my family. Sometimes I have thoughts and I have to reel myself in because I don't understand something, but it's not judging them. It's me trying to wrap my head around it. Because there are things that I do that I'm sure they do the same thing with. And I don't take it as them judging me. I take it as the love that they're giving me in trying to understand where I'm coming from. It's so easy to be offended. It's so easy to get hurt by something that somebody says, if that's what you're looking for. But if you're coming at it from a place of love, which your friends and family should have that for you, it's not so easy to get offended, or it shouldn't be. Because what they're saying, or, if you've asked for their opinion, don't be offended by what their opinion is. And don't take it as they judged you. You asked them for something and they're giving it to you. So if you're going to ask, be okay with getting an answer. Here's another one. Embrace the so what. When a moment of fear or shame creeps in, ask yourself, so what? So what if someone sees me struggling? So what if somebody sees me in that outfit? So what if my hair isn't done or my makeup's not on? I'm going to tell you 90% of the time I leave my house without makeup on. And it's not because I don't take pride in myself, because I do. I've just never been that. That hasn't, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with people who do. That they cannot leave their house without their hair done and their makeup on. God bless you, because it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. I look at people who go out with their hair done and their makeup on, and I always think, God, they're so pretty and they've taken the time, and I recognize that. And it's not, sometimes people try to label it, she just doesn't really care about herself, or that's not it. Sometimes when it's, we're going to go somewhere, I do try, don't get me wrong. My husband is not always out with some, person who, never does her hair or her makeup. That's not true at all. I do. I just don't do it all the time. It's just, that's not a priority for me all the time. Doesn't mean that if it's a priority for you that there's something wrong with that, because there isn't. And in actuality, I'm a little envious of you. Not even gonna lie. Also, just don't take so what to the other extreme. Okay? I mean, because it's really easy to go, so what? So what? Just don't go that far with it. I mean, understand that there are certain things, so what? You're not perfect. That's okay. The so what brings things back to reality, reminding you that, and this is how I would love for you to use so what, it reminds you that your worth is not tied to a flawless performance. Again, your worth is not tied to an illusion of perfection. It's not. It's in here. It's in here. It's what comes out of here. How you use these. That's you. In closing, because I started to go a little heavy again, I'm so sorry. Opening up is a practice, not a destination. Yeah, I said that. It's a brave and beautiful choice where you are letting others in and you're doing so freely. To give yourself freely, your true self. Your authenticity is a gift. I hope you start to recognize that. Because there is no one else in this world like you. There are people who have similarities to you, but there is no one like you. And that's special, and that's important for you to remember, and that's who you want to share with the people that are important to you. You want to give that to the world. You want to give that to yourself. I challenge you this week. I threw it down. You gonna pick it up? Because I'm throwing it. I challenge you this week to choose one, just one, taking baby steps here, small moment to be a little bit more open, a little more vulnerable, and a lot more you. I really hope that you will join me again next week for another conversation on If I Die Tomorrow. I hope you take me up on that challenge and fill me in, because I would love to applaud and praise you and remind you of how wonderful you really are. Beautifully human. Be kind. Be grateful. Stay humble.